From Washington, this is VOA News. I'm Marti Johnson reporting from Paris. Delegates of nearly 200 nations meeting there have unanimously endorsed a landmark deal for global warming. The agreement aims to keep global temperature increases to below 2 degrees Celsius, provide $100 billion in climate investment for poorer countries, review progress every 5 years, and cap carbon emissions as soon as possible. VOA's Ramirez is in Paris for the conference.
What many are calling a very large historic agreement has finally been reached after several nights of no sleep and several years of haggling. There is now a comprehensive agreement among delegates of 196 nations to take comprehensive action against climate change. This was after 2 weeks of meetings here in Paris. At times, it seemed like there was going to be no agreement. Toward the end, a great deal of optimism because there was a great deal of political will, a great deal of momentum that was caused or that was prompted by the presence of so many world leaders. It was the largest gathering of world leaders in one place ever, and that's what kicked off this process that ended successfully.
VOA's Ramirez reporting from Paris. Burundi's army says at least 87 people, 79 of what it called enemies, and 8 soldiers and policemen were killed Friday in the capital of Bujumbura in what it describes as coordinated attacks by unknown gunmen. A military spokesman said 45 others were captured. Horrified residents in several neighborhoods told Western reporters of emerging from hiding early Saturday to find dozens of corpses scattered in the streets. Witnesses say some of the victims have been dragged from their homes by security forces and executed. This is VOA News. U.S. Ambassador to the UN Samantha Power said political dialogue for Burundi needs to begin immediately between the government and opposition.
What many are calling
The members of the Security Council condemned in the strongest terms the recent attacks by unidentified assailants in Bujumbura and urged all involved actors to refrain from violence.
Burundi has been plagued with unrest since April when the president announced he would seek a third term. He was re-elected in July with a vote that was boycotted by the opposition. The United Nations says the violence since April has killed more than 240 people and prompted more than 200,000 Burundians to flee the country. Spain says an attack in a diplomatic area of the Afghan capital killed at least 6 people, including 2 Spanish policemen, and is regarded as an attack on Spain. The Taliban claimed responsibility for the car bombing and gunfight that began Friday and continued into today before security forces killed all of the attackers. At least 4 Afghan policemen died in the attack, which took place near the Spanish embassy in Kabul. A nearby hospital run by an Italian charity reports treating several other victims for injuries. A Taliban spokesman told VOA the target was a guest house, which they claim was used for military activities and intelligence sharing. Swiss officials have confirmed the arrest of 2 people of Syrian origin as a part of a probe into a terror threat. In a statement, Switzerland's Attorney General said the 2 people were arrested in Geneva Friday on suspicion of making, hiding, and transporting explosive and toxic gases. The statement said criminal proceedings have been opened against the pair under a law prohibiting terrorist groups such as Al-Qaeda and Islamic State. Traces of explosives were found in the suspect's vehicle when they were arrested, according to Swiss media. Authorities have determined that a fire that erupted in a California mosque on Friday was intentionally set in a possible hate crime, little more than a week after a radical Islamic couple went on a shooting spree in the same U.S. state. Police say a suspect in the incident was identified and detained shortly after the fire at the Islamic Society of Coachella Valley in Southern California. The blaze tore through the building's lobby just before an afternoon prayer service, but no one was hurt. The Federal Bureau of Investigation and the U.S. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives are investigating. Coachella is about 125 kilometers from San Bernardino, where a U.S.-born Muslim man and his Pakistani-born wife opened fire recently at a center for developmentally disabled people, killing 14 and wounding 22. The FBI is investigating that act as an act of terrorism. And 2 days of high-level talks between North and South Korea has ended with no breakthroughs, according to South Korean officials. That leaves mixed messages about reconciliation efforts the rivals have made since stepping away from a military standoff that was underway in August. I'm Marti Johnson, reporting from Washington.
That's the latest world news from VOA.